Say you're broke. You're broke and homeless. And homeless and you have no friends. And you have no girlfriend. And you have no car. You have nothing. You've just got a bag of your possessions, meager possessions. It's a small bag. Your life is misery. Even then, you should suck it up. Yeah, you're a guy. No matter how bad things get, don't complain about it. Don't go and sob to somebody about your situation, no matter how bad it might happen to be. Be smart about the misery of your life. Suck it up and redirect that energy into something productive. You see, women need to vent. Women need to tell other women, usually, all about their problems. Sometimes they'll latch on to some loser beta who thinks that if he listens enough to her crap, she'll wind up sleeping with him. She never will, of course. She just wants to vent. She just wants to emotionally vomit up everything that is bringing her turmoil. And she feels better about that, better about herself when she does so. But with men, it's completely different. In fact, it's the opposite. Yeah, when men vent and throw up their emotions, what happens is that they run out of energy. Anger, resentment, unhappiness are the fuel for a man. If you just take the gas tank in your car and poke a hole in it and let all the gas flow out, what's going to happen? Is that car going to go anywhere? Of course not. For men, it's the same thing. When you, as a guy, vent all your frustrations and anger, what's going to happen is that you're not going to have the emotional energy to pursue the things that you want. This, of course, that I'm saying flies in the face of all kinds of people right now. All the accredited people will listen to me and say that I'm high or an idiot or I don't know what I'm talking about. I know exactly what I'm talking about. I'm 52 years old. I've been around the block more than once or twice. I can tell you that when you vent out all the emotions that you have, you vent them out to someone, you tell them about all your problems, be it a shrink or a friend or whomever. What happens is that the anger and resentment that you might be having diminishes, which you would think is a good thing. But actually for a man, it's incredibly bad because he doesn't have the emotional energy to pursue the things that he wants. By venting, he loses that fuel. This doesn't happen with women. Men and women are very different in this regard. And I don't care what any feminist or trans activist or anybody else has to say about this. Men and women are radically different. Their brains are radically different. And this is an example of it. When women vent their frustrations, their anger, their unhappiness, they feel better and they can continue doing whatever it is that they're doing. But when men do so, when men vent their frustrations and anger and whatnot, they are depleted. They can't move forward. They just like sit there like, That's why you have to suck it up. Yeah, you suck up your anger, your unhappiness, your frustrations, whatsoever they may be, and whatever the reason for those frustrations and that unhappiness. And you just suck it up and use it as the fuel to pursue what you want and you'll succeed. But the guys who are in touch with their emotions and crap like that, yeah, who complain and whine and spew out all of this emotional mess, this emotional vomitus, they just spew it out everywhere to everyone. What happens is that they don't have the emotional energy to pursue the things that they want, and that's why they stay as losers. Because that's the truth. Yeah, what passes as a quote-unquote well-adjusted man is basically a loser. He's basically impotent. He's impotent because he's spewed out all of the emotional fuel necessary for him to achieve the things that he wants to achieve, and therefore he achieves nothing. He's a loser. He's a nobody. That's the truth of the matter. A man needs anger, frustration, rage even, to fuel the engine to pursue the things that he wants. If I had heard this 20 years ago, I would have thought that the man saying this doesn't know what he's talking about, or the man saying this is high. But I'm telling you this from experience. There are lots of things that I've come to realize as an older man that the experts and the people with all the accreditation don't know what they are talking about, and this is one of them. This is actually really important. When you go around spewing to people all about your unhappiness and rage and frustration about this, that, the other, you are going to spend yourself out. But if you take that negative energy, because it is a negative energy, You take that negative energy and turn it around and use it for something productive, like gasoline. Gasoline is toxic. You drink gasoline, you're gonna die. But if you use gasoline as a fuel for the engine of your car, you can go for miles and miles. You see what I'm saying? When I say suck it up, by the way, I don't mean don't examine your emotions. Oh no, I'm not saying that. It's actually very important for you to understand your emotions. And sometimes talking about it with other guys obliquely, not like spewing it all out, not just like throwing away all that fuel, but rather obliquely talking about it and describing it can help you figure it out. That's different. But what I'm saying is that don't spew your emotions out, because also you sound like a fucking loser when you just talk like that. I mean, come on. Have you ever heard those guys who are saying, oh, I don't feel very good. I feel like this, I feel like that. I don't know. It sounds like a ugh. It's just a rejection from my point of view. But anyway, it's important that you understand the emotions that you are feeling, the source of the frustration and rage. Because you will feel frustration and rage because it's natural. All guys feel it. That's the point. But we use it. Whereas women do not use it. Yeah, for women, emotions are kind of like farts. They need to spew them out and dissipate them. Yeah, they're not fuel. No, they're just farts. And that's why women overanalyze their emotions. And in our contemporary culture, men have copied women in overanalyzing their emotions, which on the one hand is actually good, because it's good to understand the source of your frustration and rage, because that way you can solve those frustrations and get to the crux of the matter, as it were. That's actually good. So that's why I'm saying it's not bad to analyze your emotions and understand their source. But what I am saying is that dissipating them, spewing them out there, is counterproductive for a man. For a woman, it's good. She needs it. But for a man, it's horrible because he's throwing away the fuel to achieve the things that he wants. You know, in the 50s and the 40s and 30s and all the way before then, men, didn't spew out their emotions. They were the strong, silent type. You know, Gary Cooper. Yeah, the strong, silent type who would bottle up his emotions. Why do you think that was? Why do you think that men did that? Why do you think that men would control their emotions, hold them in, their resentment, their anger, their frustration and whatnot, bottle it up? Why do you think? Because they recognize the necessity of having those emotions bottled up and used as fuel. They understood that. It's only in our contemporary culture that we've forgotten that incredibly valuable lesson. Don't get me wrong, the past wasn't perfect. There were lots of problems. And a lot of times there were men in the past who would bottle up their emotions and they would never examine them. And because of that, their rage and unhappiness and frustrations would suddenly sometimes pop out of nowhere and ruin a situation, you know, an explosion of violence, an explosion of uncontrollable rage. That happened all the time because, of course, these men were not examining their emotions at all. They were just bottling them up wholesale. I'm not saying that that was good. I'm saying that that was bad. But what I am saying is that the current fashion of just spewing out what you feel to random people, random strangers, is a disaster for you. Yeah, a lot of men think that by spewing out their emotions to people, they are bonding with them, which is absurd. See, people don't really bond by way of emotions. No, they bond by shared experience, but not by talking about your emotions. People aren't going to think better of you if you spew out whatever emotions you have bottled up. On the contrary, many times they will think less of you because you will sound pathetic, because you do. Every guy sounds pathetic when he starts talking about the source of his frustrations. Yeah, because most of the time, those frustrations that to you might be a big deal, to other people, to most other people, are trivial. And their frustrations and problems to you are also going to appear trivial. Notice it. Look at other people when they talk to you, when they tell you about their frustrations and their anger and whatnot, and you listen to them and you're like, Jesus Christ, this is kind of stupid, right? Right? Yeah, that's exactly what they think about you. But we've been convinced by a whole class of people whose income depends on you spewing out your emotions, i.e. mental health workers. Their income depends on you spewing out your emotions at the weirdest and most inopportune times so as to be in touch with your emotions, and it only makes you look foolish. It only makes you look weak. And here's more to the point. See, when you start spewing out emotions like that, not only does it rob you of the energy that you will need, the emotional energy you will need to pursue the things that you want, but also you will realize that other people think you're foolish, and you will start to internalize that sense that you're a foolish person. Tell me you haven't noticed those guys who are quote unquote in touch with their emotions and everybody thinks that they're a fool. You think that they're a fool. And they talk about their emotions all the time. I mean, it's really uncomfortable. They talk about their emotions and they share their emotions. And I don't want to share somebody else's emotions. And on top of that, whenever I hear somebody sharing their emotions, I think that they're a fool. I think that they're a loser. I think that they're weak. And I certainly don't want to be involved in any kind of relationship with them, because I think that at the moment of truth, at crunch time, they're going to wimp out on me. That's what I feel. That's what I believe. That's what I sense from these people. And I sense it because it's true. They will wimp out at crunch time. Those people who are constantly in touch with their emotions, talk about it all the time, they will wimp out. They'll just, vanish when things get hard. Or they'll start to cry and whine like a little child, which is, I think, even worse, because, a coward, okay, well, he's a coward, but a child, a man who is a child and acts like a child, that's somehow worse. I don't know. I mean, 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. You know what I'm saying? They're equally bad, and you will become that person if you constantly share your emotions. That's why you have to suck it up. Look at those men who suck up their emotions. Look at those men who, no matter how tough things get, they just grunt and move on. And they just swallow the unhappiness and frustrations that they might feel. Look at those men, and how do you feel about them? Do you respect them? Do you admire them? Probably. Because those guys are going to be tough. They're going to be tough, and they're not going to suffer fools gladly, as it were. Oh no. They're going to be tough, and most important of all, they achieve their goals. That's why you want to suck it up. That's why you want to be a man. So, you like this video? Great. Go check out my Patreon channel. Link is in the description below, because there I put all the videos that are frankly too sensitive for YouTube. You can imagine what they might be, yeah. And I also do a weekly broadcast called the Weekly Webinar, where I discuss different topics, and it's a call-in show. Lasts 2 to 3 hours every Sunday at 11 a.m. Eastern. It's a lot of fun. So please go check it out. Link is in the description below, as I said. Thank you very much for watching, and I will catch you next time.